Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Trackside Broadcasting. I hope everyone has a great week so far, and now it's time to finish it off with some great racing action here tonight. As always, before I get underway, we'd like to thank the Tanzo Racing Group for letting us bring you all the action this season, and to our sponsors, Valhalla Liveries, and us here at Trackside Broadcasting. Also, make sure to share the YouTube link to friends and family so more people can support your favourite drivers out there this evening. So now we're on race 5 of 8 tonight, and we're here at Brands Hatch, just outside of Kent in the UK. We've had 4 cracking races so far this season. I'm really looking forward to seeing another one here tonight. But before I begin, joining me in the booth, as always, will be my co-host and right-hand man in broadcasting, a man who brings the energy and a great sense of humour too. So let's get him in here with me and say our hellos. Good evening, Gaz. How are we doing today?
Oh, good evening, Jimmy. I am doing very well. It's been a great weekend. We're doing some racing to finish it all off. I am brilliant, though, mate. Brands Hatch, back to somewhere we've been a few times, though. It's a great race. It's a great track. We're back to the two race layout. We had the combined last week, obviously. Mate, I'm really looking forward to it. How about yourself? What are you feeling about it tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it always produces great racing here, especially in the slower kind of end of the cars. And yeah, I really like it. It's a challenging track. It's a bit just that nice side of difficult, and yeah, always produces a good race.
Well, we've done it. We've done it a couple of times now. We've been here with a few different other cars, so it'll be interesting to see how these Toyotas get round it this evening. Jimmy, 9 corners, 2.4 mile a lap track. It should be an interesting one. I'm hoping for some good racing tonight, which we've become accustomed to with these chaps here in the Toyota 86s, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, these guys love a good scrap. They like to have a good race, so I
A
think they'll
good
put on a
scrap
good show for us.
I think he's underselling it there, Jim. I think every week so far we've had quite a few different people scrapping it out with each other. So it'll be interesting to see if we get those pairings up fighting again this week.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few people that are always culprits, shall we say, for for trying to have a good race. So now we'll
Yeah, we all know who it is. We all know who it is, Jimmy.
But no, I mean, I do love the format as well, and having that sort of the second race being in a fully reverse grid as well always makes it like a really fascinating watch because seeing people have to change up their strategies, change how they race, work with the other people that they normally wouldn't be racing with, and
Well,
yeah, it does make
it
a
makes
good
for an
show.
interesting one because like we saw it last week, didn't we? We saw a couple of little mistakes. Not last week, sorry, the week before when we had the two race layout. A couple of mistakes led to a couple of our top drivers being towards the back end, and it's always interesting to uh to see how they get on racing with everyone.
Yeah, I do like that sort of like getting that sort of insight into the type of driver and the skill of the driver when they're kind of forced to be in a different position than they normally are, and then they've got to sort of battle their way up through the grid and see how they work with other people as well. Because I think it tells a lot about a driver when, obviously, if you have like a number one driver, they're leading the way the entire time, leading every single race. You put them at the back of the grid. Now they've got to race with people they normally wouldn't race with, people that might be a bit more unpredictable, and it's just yeah, it's fascinating to see how
Yeah,
they
real fascinating. It really is, Jimmy. It's something we'll have to see how it goes, though. But Jim, before we go any further, I just want to say hello to everybody at home. We haven't said hello to those guys yet. How's everyone doing this evening? Welcome back with us. Give us a shout out, let us know who you are. Let us know who you're backing tonight. We love to read your guys' comments as we go, don't we, Jim?
Yeah, we really do. And yeah, when people get involved in the YouTube chat, put who you want us to give a shout out to, and we'll give them a good old shout out during the race. Gaz, before we get underway, would you like to let everyone know how it's going to work here this evening?
Yeah, absolutely, Jimmy, absolutely. So a little bit of a breakdown, just in case you're new to join us this evening, or just a little bit of a reminder for you all. So this is an 8 week series. Remember, we are on race 5 of 8 tonight here at Brands Hatch. Each weekend, it will open with a 30-minute practice. That's already done. That's gone. That's out the way. Everyone on track together, but now we're on that 15-minute lone qualifying session. So drivers have a maximum of 3 laps to set a time on their own, so they don't have to worry about any of the other drivers around them. They can set the best lap times they can. After qualifying, We head over to start the race. It's a standing start, so it'll be 5 lights out and away we go. Remember, tonight we are back to the 2 race layout this evening. One 20-minute race, a short 5-minute break after that, and then we're going to follow it all with a nice reverse grid, mix everybody back up, swap them all from back to front, and then we're going to get at you with the second race this evening, which will be 25 minutes long. Don't forget as well, guys, any issues that they get out there on track, they do have a fast repair, get themselves back into the garage as quickly as they can, and sort out any damage, get themselves back out there for some racing. But Jimmy, that's all done, all the rules and regs out the way, all the boring stuff. We're just over 7 minutes into qualifying. Shall we jump down to track and have a look at how it's all going on?
Just quickly before we do, we've got a couple messages in the YouTube chat. JDM Jimmy and Marshmallow, two people here, always here with us, chatting away in the evenings, and we absolutely love it. So yeah, good evening to both of you there. And,
Good evening, Jimmy. Good evening, Marshmallow. Good to see you again. Jimmy, another Jimmy. There's so many of you Jameses and Jimmys around in everything that we do. Can't get away from you guys.
we're a good group of people, that's why.
Something in the name, I think. It's something in the name. We'll see, eh? But no, hi guys, thank you for joining us. As the race goes on, please do let us know who you are backing for this evening. But no, Jimmy, it is that time. We're nearly coming up to the 10-minute mark. We're 8 minutes in. Shall we go down to track and have a look at what's going on?
Yep, so currently leading the way, we've got Jack Veazey is currently on pole position at the moment with a 1:35.9. Just under half a second behind him, we have Andrea Magli. And then not too far behind him, we have Lee Martin, Harry Gaylor, Alex Cubis, and Paul Brown. Then we've got Joseph Lopez a little bit behind him, Robert Barber, and then John Johnston rounding out the 9 people out qualifying at the moment. I mean,
Well, I
there's
think
really not a lot between a lot of those times. Robert Barber going into the pit lane now. I think his qualifying session just coming to an end. But yeah, I mean, look at that. Like you got 200ths of a second, 500ths of a second between them, then a couple tenths here and there. I mean, it's very close at the moment. And with the way that like Brands Hatch works, you can get kind of a bit of draft with a lot of the track, but there's a lot of skill involved with we'll
yeah,
show we'll show kind of how it works later on, but the
yeah.
corners
Well,
are quite blind in a lot of places. In a lot of pace. Oh my god,
a lot
that's
of
what I was
places, a
saying.
lot of places,
Yeah,
Jimmy.
thank you.
Look,
In a lot of places. So
look. I know exactly. I think I know exactly what you're trying to say, Jimmy. It's one of them. It's a very flowing but very unforgiving kind of track. There's lots of blind apexes. You need to use all of the track to get your speed back up. Get on the power as soon as you can out of a lot of these corners. You do need to watch for the others, though. It's not the widest of tracks as it is typically British in that one. You can get 2 cars around 3 in some parts, but it's one of those. It's a simple but very tough track. It's like we say every week. It's typically British, isn't it?
yeah, I mean that classic kind of road then grass then wall that you get at a British track. So unforgiving is a very good word to describe it. But now there's a lot of blind corners and a lot of like you can see here he's using every inch of the track to try and get speed. It's one of those tracks that rewards confidence and confidence in your ability, confidence with the car, and yeah, a bit of knowledge of the track as well. Like here, especially blind corner going in, get on the power as soon as you come out. And then you got to avoid the grass on the left-hand side because if you hit that and you start braking, it's
Yeah.
a recipe for disaster there.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jimmy, save that on board for a little bit later because we will get to one of those later on in one of the 2 races this evening if we can, if there's not too much chaos going on out there. But no, we're just on board with Lee Martin. It's an interesting one. Lee Martin finished P2 in the pros last week. He's P2 in the standings. He's made a bit of a late rush on Jack Veazey, who's pretty much dominated the standings since the start, Jim. Jack Veazey leading the current standings after after 4 races into race week 5. 278 points with Lee Martin, 249 points. So he's making some of that gap back up with some of the consistent performances we're seeing from him. So I really am looking forward to seeing what Lee can do. Another one here, Casper Roost, that we can see sitting 3rd overall in the AM Championship at the moment. Had a great race last week. Didn't quite make it onto our podium spots. We didn't speak to him, but no, it's an interesting one. That I tell you, Jimmy, that AM standings is so close at the minute between the top 3 drivers there. Rob Barber, Joseph Lopez, and Casper Roost. We are, 5 weeks in? We're about to have our 5th race. Anything can change up between those guys down there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very telling race, kind of who might. Because I mean, this far into the course and into the season, and then being that close on points, I think this is where you need to start putting the pressure on, sort of getting that like extra little practice in when you can, and then sort of getting
No,
slightly higher up on the grid, sort of playing it a bit sensible at times, but you need to get those positions down. I mean,
No, I completely agree. I completely agree. Completely agree. And you do see it, Jim. You do see some of these guys getting in there who are making their way back up the pack. Because obviously, we can see when these guys join their practice sessions, they're in it literally from second one. They want as much time out there as they can. And that's only what we can see. We don't know what these guys are doing in the week either, do we?
no, and yeah, I mean that's another good point as well. You don't really know like how busy some of these people are and how much time they've actually got to put the practice in. So being this close, I mean, when you look at the points as well, last week I think was a bit of a fluke, and well, a fluke in a sense with how different the track and the type of race was. We didn't have the reverse grid. We had a longer race, and it it kind of really benefited those that could stay as a group. And I mean, what nine was it? 8 out of the 9 people in that race led at
Led.
some point.
No,
So
they did. Yeah. 8 out of 9.
yeah,
I think we only had one driver who didn't, and I can't remember who that was, but I wouldn't name him anyway. Just don't want to do that to the chap there, Jim. But no, it was a really interesting race last week. Don't know if you do remember the double black flag that we got on the last lap with Joseph Lopez and Phil Giles with P1 and P2 in the AMs, pushing them down to P2 and P3 after the marshals had a look at it and gave Rob Barber back that lead. And Rob Barber obviously taking that because that put him up to P1 in the AM class there, Jim, overall. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do this week. Back on the track, I think these guys have raced a few times now, and back to the two race layout. So it's one I'm really, really looking forward to getting back to tonight, seeing how it's all going to go.
yeah. I mean, it threw the points a bit out of whack, but I think this will be putting it back a bit more into place. But no, it was a cracking race last week, and yeah, I mean, Brands Hatch should hopefully do the same. And we've got coming up to about a minute and a half left to go. I think everyone's pretty much set in their times now. I think the people who are out are probably just going to get a bit of extra practice in when they can. Lee Martin there just dipping into the pit lane. He's definitely finished his session at the moment. So I'm
Well,
pretty sure what we see on the board is what we're going to get for the starting order of the race.
yeah,
But
well,
we'll,
obviously we'll confirm that once the
yeah,
15 minutes is up for everybody out there. But no, I think you are right, Jimmy. I don't think there's enough time now. What we're looking at about a 135, 136 to get around there. So we'll see what happens. But it's Casper Roos still out there at the moment trying to test something. He hasn't managed to get himself a lap down at the moment. So it'd be interesting to see if he can set himself something before the end of qualifying, Jim. But I don't know if it's going to be a good one. Seems to having a bit of trouble out there at the moment.
yeah, he's been getting a little off track each individual lap. So, but I mean, qualifying doesn't necessarily matter too much. I mean, we've seen like, I mean, I think the reverse grid is a very telling example of this. You'll have whoever finishes P1 will start last, and there's a lot of times they'll still end up back in P1. Even though you've got 20 to 25 minutes, that's still plenty of time to start working your way back up through the field. And even if you
Hey,
miss out at qualifying or you get a poor qualifying, you could still get those positions just through good race pace.
it's something we don't like to see, Jimmy, but you don't know what the cars in front of you are going to be doing either. If they're all fighting and something happens, that could be three, four, five positions made up right there if there's a fair few cars involved. But Jimmy, that is it. The 15 minutes are now officially up. So we'll pull up the standings now. Do you want to let everybody know how they're going to be lining up this evening?
Yep, so we've got Jack Veazey leading the way in P1 and leading the pros, followed by Andrea Magli, Lee Martin, Harry Gaylor, Alex Kubelis, and Paul Brown. Then we have Joseph Lopez starting in seventh and leading the AMs in position, followed by Robert Barber, John Johnson, and Casper Roost.
There you go.
So yeah, I mean,
Marshmallow makes a good point. Sorry,
yeah, I was
Jimmy.
just about to say
Marshmallow
that. No, I
makes
was just about to say
he
the same
makes a
thing.
brilliant point. If you haven't seen it, guys, hopefully he's just limit testing in qualifying. Do you know what? I'm gonna go with that one. But Jimmy, they're lining up now. We're gonna have our standing start. It will be going in a couple of moments' time.
Yeah, I think we're
What's
just waiting
your
on.
thoughts for this race? Real quick before we get going, what are you expecting from this race?
I'm expecting turn one to be a little scary, and the first couple corners to be quite scary. I mean, it's a very odd layout of the track at the very start, and it's a it's a little sketchy, little roller coaster-esque with the huge elevations and stuff. So on those colder tires, it can be a little bit more difficult. But I mean, we know what these drivers are like; they'll probably be absolutely fine.
There we go. So they're all lined up on track. 2.4 miles a lap, 9 corners to get through before we get to lap 2. Let's see what lap 1 brings us, Jimmy. But I think we're pretty much ready to go. Lights
Yep,
are
that's
there.
everyone
So
out.
if you'd like to start us off, Jimmy.
Yep, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and away they go. Very short time for that one, and yeah, great start from a few cars there. Slow start from a couple. There's a who's that? Lee Martin absolutely dropping to the back of the pack. He had a terrible start there, but Andrea Magli, phenomenal start, gets his way ahead of Jack Veazey, who started further up on the grid than he did. So yeah, great start from him there. Very confident on those cold tyres early on. Can he keep that position through turn 2 there? A few people chopping and changing position as Lee Martin though has got his work cut out for him, but like we said, plenty of time to work their way back up through the field. And yeah, I'll be back fighting with the rest of the pros in no time, I'd imagine.
There you go, Jimmy. Lined up a little bit now as we go around lap 1. But no, an interesting start there, like you said. Lee Martin absolute dropped off from the start there. I think he was what was he P2, P3, and he just absolutely tumbled down the pack from the start. He must have did he miss the lights? Maybe I'm not too sure what's happened to him there. But no, down in P10 at the moment. So currently leading the way a minute into the to our first race this evening. Jack Veazey in P1, followed by Harry Gaylor in P2 with Andrea Magli sitting just behind him in P3, followed by Paul Brown and Alex Tubulus in P5. Joseph Lopez P6 on track, P1 for the AMS at the moment, followed by Rob Barber in P2 with John Johnson in P3, 7th and 8th respectively, followed then by Casper Roost in P9 and Lee Martin at the back of the pack, P10, with some work ahead of him in this first race, Jimmy.
Yeah, I think him and Casper there, both, I mean, Casper unable to set a time during qualifying, so he's going to have to push a little bit just to show us what his true pace is. And then Lee Martin as well. There's already a big gap between John Johnson and Robert Barber now that's just formed. So these three drivers here at the back are going to have to really push to get back up to the rest of the group. Second, well, nearly 2 seconds now. So I think they're being held up a little bit by John there, but I mean, if they're the quicker cars, they should be able to get past him. Casper Rooster going on the inside of Lee Martin, get the inside of that corner. But Lee Martin take so much more speed around the outside. He'll have the advantage going through this next turn coming up here, and he'll get ahead. There you go. And all that extra fighting is all it's done is allow John Johnson to pull a little bit away from them, and then create an even bigger gap now to Robert Barber. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one for those guys being that far back this early on. Harry Gaylor though getting ahead of Andrea as well. I mean, Andrea leading through turn 1, and then Jack Veazey managed to get the corner back through turn 2, and now Harry Gaylor's ahead of them. So
It'll be an
yeah,
interesting one with Harry Gaylor, Jim. We haven't seen Harry Gaylor since round 1. He hasn't joined us much this season. He was with us with Laguna Seca at the start of the season, if you can cast your mind all the way back a few weeks there. Harry Gaylor finishing P2 in both of the races starting off this season. And from the timings that I can see, him and Jack Veazey were very, very close. So maybe Jack's going to have a little bit more competition tonight with Harry Gaylor joining the grid this evening.
yeah, a few little a few little off tracks there. You can see the guys are pushing so hard this early on. I mean, lap 2, and yeah, they're already absolutely flying around the place. But coming up on 4 and a bit seconds now. I mean, Lee Martins really needs to get this move done, get back up to fighting with the rest of them. It's gonna be hard to make up that much time difference when we were talking tenths between them at the start, and now they're 5 seconds further back. I mean, yeah, it seems to be. I don't know. You look at the top group, and they're able to sort of push and kind of fight and sort of change positions fairly easily. These bottom three seem to be struggling to figure out their positions on track, and
Yeah, they're really having a tough time out there. Hopefully, Casper can get it down a bit. We saw he didn't set a time, so he's having a little bit of trouble with those track limits this evening. Lee Martin did have a great start to the race, and what has happened there? It looks like Lee Martin and John Johnson had a little coming. Was it John Johnson and Lee Martin had coming together there?
yeah, I
Let's
think
take a
did
quick look at that one.
John Johnson come across to be a bit more
Lee Martin,
defensive.
I tell
I
you,
think
Lee
he,
Martin really is pushing it, isn't he? He's using all of the track limits available to him.
yeah, I think they just lost it a little bit. I mean, it's hard to tell now. I think both of them just seemed pushing as hard as they could, got a little bit squirrely through there. But Lee Martin is so further back. But I mean, he starts this far back now. But that would also mean next race, if he finishes where he started, he'll be starting on pole position from for that 25-minute race.
Well, we've still got 15 minutes of this race left to go, Jimmy. But it's like you said earlier on with the not great start that he had. It's a very he's got a lot to do now. It's going to be a very very big uphill battle for him. to get going. We'll have to check back on him very shortly and see how he's getting on. Jimmy, we've had another regular join us in the comments though this evening. We've got Paul Brown's daughter with us again. Good evening. How are you doing this evening, darling? She has said Paul Brown's daughter again. Hopefully he doesn't get too excited when he's near the front and crash again. Hopefully he can get himself a podium at least. A little bit of shade there from Paul Brown's daughter there about crashing out at the start. So no. We'll see how he gets on. He's doing all right at the moment. He's in P4, just over a second behind the podium spots at the moment with Andrea Magli, Harry Gaylor, and Jack Veazey. Still your top three of this race. There he is, Paul Brown, in that lovely blue and white livery. I
Yeah, he's
like
got
that one. It's very subtle, but very nice livery. That is.
yeah, it's classic, I'd say, in sort of color scheme, isn't it? It's got the nice racing stripe through the middle, the
Yeah.
classic colors. Yeah, you can't go wrong with it, can you? You can't fault
It,
it.
it, it's not like you, Jimmy, when we see you out on track in all your garish, bright colours, blues and yellows and pinks all combined together, and it is literally a headache on wheels as you watch you go around.
But it gets you seen though, and that's what's important about it. I mean, there's a reason I chose the trackside colors to be bright and vibrant. You can see when the stream's going up on your broadcast.
Jimmy, you say that like I haven't known you for many, many years and known that you choose these kind of colours for many, many years, even before we came together for trackside broadcasting.
I mean, like I said, it gets you seen, and hopefully you kind of, in my mind, people will crash into you like, oh, that is a very sketchy move down on the inside there. Did not have the room,
I
but
tell you
everyone made
what,
it out alive. Joseph Lopez though, he seems to
picking
have
up a
terminal
meatball.
damage. What's happened to him? Oh.
Oh, he's gonna hit that wall yet. There it is. So was it a little tap there from Rob Barber? If we can take another
Yeah,
look
just
at that
clipped the
one
rear
again.
end of him and just sent him off.
Let's pull that back. Let's have another quick
Oh,
look. So
so
he's
he
having
went
a
off
little
as well.
no, so he's having a little bit of trouble anyway. So he goes quite wide there, just misses out in the sand onto the grass. Doesn't give Rob Barber much time to really react to that as he comes around the corner there with quite a bit of speed. Taps the back of Joseph Lopez, sending him into the wall. Joseph Lopez, yeah, he has gone to the pits now, as you can see that meatball flag will need to
Yeah.
be addressed. But no, it's an interesting one between his back three here at the minute, Jimmy. I think they were nearly three wide going around that corner when we saw it a moment ago when Lee Martin got himself back up from P10 to P8, up to P7 now, with obviously Joseph Lopez going into the pits. But no, it's an interesting one with these three back here because I don't think any of them have quite found their footing yet this race, and they're still kind of just getting it down.
Yeah, I mean they've John Johnson as well. I think it's just been like defending like an absolute madman here in a good way because he's sort of keeping them at bay, keeping them behind him, and keeping track position very well. I mean Lee Martin has gotten ahead now, but yeah, he's keeping Casper Roos now behind him, and yeah, just in that previous incident with Robert Cliff in the back of
Mm.
Joseph there. I don't think I saw any brake lights on him, so I think that might be a bit of a penalty for him potentially. I mean, I think he might have had enough time to be able to see what was happening with Joseph and sort of slow down and adjust, but he seemed to go a bit a bit
Yeah, right.
underfoot there and just kept on
Yeah,
going. But
yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Joseph Lopez obviously joins back out on track now, just over a minute and 16 seconds behind. It's that is an uphill pull to get before the end of this race. So I think we might be seeing Joseph Lopez starting near the top of the leaderboards for the second race there, Jim. It's good to have him back out on track with us. We like to see a full grid finish each race, don't we?
yeah, I mean, actually, that's a good point as well with the reverse grid. I mean, we've seen how well John Johnson's been defending and sort of battling here. And yeah, he's going to be starting near the front now, so everyone's going to have to work their way past him, and they're going to have to be
There you
yeah,
go.
they're gonna
Just
have to
going
work past someone that's defending that hard, and I think it should make a really, uh, yeah, exciting second race for everyone here.
No, absolutely. These guys here just go there. You go. You can see Joseph Lopez in the green in the center of your screen. The is the back marker now. So the front three podium spots have gone past him. Alex Tubular in that lovely purple livery, and I do really like that purple livery. About to go past him with Paul Brown there. So hopefully he doesn't cause too much trouble for them and getting their guys way for their race that's happening. But they've got a little bit of time to make up to the top three now, Jimmy. About 3 seconds in it now between Alex Cubulus and Andrea Magli.
Oh, Kaspar's going down the inside. Can he make it stick? No, Johnson's just able to carry so much speed into some of these corners. I think Kaspar's might have backed out a little bit on that one, but
I tell you, John Johnson's one of them. Like he's quite a placid driver. He doesn't really cause much out there, but he's really fighting this week. I'm seeing a bit of a demon from him at the moment.
yeah, I think maybe Brands Hatch is one of his favourites, so he's just working extra hard to keep position and just have a bit of fun out here.
No, absolutely, absolutely. But Jimmy, we are 10 minutes in. We are halfway through his first race here. Currently still sitting at the top of the leaderboard. Jack Veazey with Harry Gaylor just over half a second behind him in P2, with Andrea Magli just behind him, just over half a second as well there. Between those guys, second batting in the top three. Alex Hubulus, P4 at the moment, followed by Paul Brown, with Rob Barber sitting in P1 for the AMS, P6 out on track, with Lee Martin just behind him trying to work his way back up after that not too great start. John Johnson's in P8, followed by Casper Roos and Joseph Lopez down at the back of the pack in P10, but he obviously had to pit with his meatball flag and the damage that he sustained from that. A quite
Yeah.
hard crash into the wall there. He hit that with quite a bit of speed, Jimmy, when we looked at that.
Yeah, and you know what, I respect him for going back out, getting those laps in, and getting sort of that extra time in the seat just to get a bit more practice and ready for that second race. And yeah, he's doing really well to kind of keep out of everyone's way and sort of not interrupt any of the battles that are going on at the moment. So yeah, a lot of respect for that kind of driving out there.
No, absolutely. It's something you like to see. And bit of driving, I do like to see Casper Roos here trying to get on the side of John Johnson there. A little bit of a coming together, a little bit of paint exchange there, Jim, as he tries it, doesn't quite get it done and drops off of him a little bit, nearly a second off of him. He's dropped there from John Johnson. Casper Roos, though, he's having a bit of a tough time out there tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, he's having a bit of a rough one, but you know what? He's getting his money's worth with this racing, isn't he? So he's not been alone on track yet. So I mean, it's
No,
kind of
that's the
what you
one
want,
thing.
isn't it?
Yes, excuse me. That is the one thing that you don't want. You don't want to be driving around alone out on track while all this is going on. Like you're in the competition. You know, well, you know you're a good driver or not, and you want to be up with the rest of them fighting. So no, at least he's not alone, and he's got a little bit of fighting he can do with John Johnson there just ahead of him. But the gaps are now starting to open up a little bit. Harry Gaylor just dropping over a second now behind Jack Veazey at the top of the pack. 3.5 seconds between Alex Hubulus and Andrea Magli. You got about 4.5 between Rob Barber to make up to Paul Brown. He's going to be quite happy though, P1 in the AMS at the moment. So I'm sure he's absolutely fine with that at the moment. No one in front of him getting in his way or causing a little bit of trouble. But no, some gaps definitely opening up now, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, Robert Barber's had a really good season so far. He's just kind of he's not been aggressive. He's not been kind of like getting in loads of fights and stuff, but he's getting the positions. And yeah, he's getting those points down. And I think he's is he leading on points at the moment? I need to double check the score sheet. But no, he's
Yeah.
been doing really well.
No,
And I think
no,
Joseph's
so
dropping that.
yeah, no, sorry, Jim. Just I've got the numbers in front of me. Rob Barber is leading the way in the AMS at the moment, 260 points. He's got Joseph Lopez, who obviously back of the pack at the moment, 256 points. And then you've got Casper Roost, who's not having the greatest of races himself here, as we see him again side by side with John Johnson, exchanging more paint. I think by the end of it, those two are going to be each other's paint color and their cars with that much paint trading going on. But 252 points from Casper Roost in P3. John Johnson, though, we just saw there as well. He's in P4, 211, so he's a little bit off those top three, who are only who are only 8 points apart, Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean it's not ideal for Joseph Lopez to be losing for getting the
Well,
back this early on. But yeah,
uh,
with the rest of them being that close as well, I think Robert's going to be happy with the points he gets at the end of this race. Alex Cuba's having a bit of a scary
yeah.
exit there, but I think he set
Alex
himself up
Hubert and
quite
Rob
nicely
Barber.
for the run out of here. Yeah, but him and no, that's not Rob Barber, that's Paul, isn't it? Yeah, Paul
Oh,
Brown.
sorry, yeah, Paul Brown. Sorry, do apologize because we were just talking about him, about Rob Barber.
Yeah, I mean both phenomenal drivers. I mean I've raced personally with Alex Cubulas in the past, and yeah, he's
I
I,
remember those
I
days.
I would describe him as a surprising driver. Like you're kind of racing along, and then suddenly he's in your mirrors, and then you
Well,
end up
see
battling
him.
with him.
we've seen it, Jimmy, haven't we? Each and every week, and it seems like it's Paul Brown at the moment. He's going to be driving real close with. He doesn't leave people alone when he's on
No,
track.
he does not.
He's always trying to gain that next position. Because if he does get Paul Brown, we'll have to see what he can do with just over 5 minutes left of the race. But it's a bit much of an ask with 5 seconds to catch up on Andrea. But we see him consistently. He's a great driver with Alex Kubulus, and I do like watching him on track. He gives us some great
Oh,
viewing.
Paul just going
Oh,
a little bit wide there.
yeah, a little bit wide from Paul Brown as he touches onto the grass, which does let Alex close in a little bit more there. And they have is that Joseph Lopez just trailing behind them? Yeah, I think that's Joseph Lopez.
Yeah, he does want to get involved. So
No,
I mean,
doesn't
fair
want to
play
get
to him.
involved, but I try and stay with him if I was him. But no, it'll be quite interesting to see what happens here. Can Alex get the move done on Paul before the end of the race, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, if it was like a public race, if you're in Joseph Lopez's position, it's always funny kind of pick one driver and then you just give them a push and sort of just give a random person the win right at the end for a bit of a laugh. But no, in a league race, you need to let the guys in front of you battle it out. And yeah, I mean, Paul Brown here. Oh, just, both of them just going across the grass, chopping and changing positions. I mean, they are pushing that car to its absolute limits here. So, I mean, we'll see. Can Paul Brown get the position back over the next couple laps, or is Alex Kubulus able to run away with it at the moment? Both drivers seem pretty equal in skill around here. They seem to be just kind of stuck fighting with each other. So, we'll have to see
Yes,
who comes out victor.
side by side they've been pretty much there chasing each other the whole way around. And no, that little incident there from Paul Brown, they're just letting Alex Cubas through up into P4 there. So no, will he be able to get it done? Sitting about half a second behind Alex now. Alex with just over 6 seconds, 6.2 second gap to Andrea in front of him. Just under 3.5 minutes left to go, Jimmy. Are any of these positions going to change? Jack Veazey sitting there comfortably with just over a 2 second on Harry Gaylor. Uh, Andrea is right on the back of Harry, though. Could we see a position change there?
I mean, potentially. I mean, Andrea, we know I mean, he's quick. I mean, we've had a lot of chats with him in the interviews at the end of the race as well. And yeah, I think it's a tough one to call between those two because I think both are equally quick, and it might just come down to who's kind of
Yeah.
just that last lap, last move. Maybe one person makes a mistake or something, and yeah, it's a tough one to call. I mean, they've
No,
kind
it
of kept
really
the
is.
same kind of position on track and within a couple tenths of each other the entire time. But yeah, I mean, I don't know who I'd put my money on out of those two.
No, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what does happen there. The how it all plays out before the end of the race. Truly a pretty fascinating racing, Jimmy. But no, I'd like to see him a little bit closer for that second race because those gaps are quite large now out there. But we have got small little groups, little I think your choice of word, small little gaggles of cars here and there. I do love
Yeah, I
that
think
word, Jimmy.
yeah, it describes it quite aptly, doesn't it? But no, it's one of those things that when you start battling, especially around like tricky tracks, it's it can separate everyone out into little groups, and yeah, it's easy to happen. But no, we always kind of see it on those first races and those second races. It's it really just changes up the dynamic of everything, and it just makes it. I feel like on those second races, people are always fighting closer together throughout the whole pack.
Yeah,
So,
I think they square each other up on the first race more than anything, just to see how they do compared to everybody else out there on the track. See how those guys race around them, what their lines are like, how they're racing on track. And I think we're seeing quite a lot of I don't want to say aggressive driving, because I don't think it's aggressive, but we're seeing a lot of battling out there, a lot of letting the guy next to you or in front of you know that you're there. And I think in that second race, I think that intensifies, Jim, because they've figured out what the guys around them are doing and how they're driving. So I think the second race always does make it a little bit more interesting. And with those extra 5 minutes of 25 minutes total, it just gives you that little bit of extra. I'm going to say playtime to really figure out what you want to do to get your race done for the evening.
yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's not aggressive racing, but you can really see the guys pushing as hard as they absolutely can, and sort of just having
Yeah, I think
having
it's
good little
intensity.
battles and
intensity, I think, is what I went with, and I think that's the word for it because they're intense out there. They want to be the best that they absolutely can. And look at these guys, Alex Hubert and Paul Brown, side by side again as they swapped around again. Paul Brown now going up to P4, Alex down to P5, and Joseph Lopez just along for the ride.
Yeah, and we are on the last lap at the moment, so just on board with Jack Veazey, watching him go round. He has led pretty much the entire race so far, besides a couple of corners, and yeah, he's just having a good, smooth race out there. No problems with him whatsoever, and yeah, just doing what he can. I mean, Harry Gaylor and Andrea Maglu sort of fighting a little bit behind them. They've lost a little bit of time, but they've done well to kind of, even though they've had a little bit of battling to keep up that close behind Jack Veazey, but yeah, three and a bit seconds is a long time over a 20-minute stint, and it'd be hard to catch back up given double the
Yeah,
time. But yeah,
yeah.
sometimes it's like it's not really a track that you can sort of bump draft and push each other to catch back up on. So it is a bit of a rough one. But no, Jack Veazey, phenomenal race from him for this first race of the evening. Just comes over these last couple corners here, and then we'll go into our 5-minute break shortly after when everyone crosses the line. But no, he's done a good job. We've got Harry Gaylor seems to be leading his little fight at the moment. Paul Brown seems to be leading his as well. So got back ahead of Alex Cubulus to get that 4th place position. Not
Sorry,
quite a
Jimmy. There we
podium, but he
go.
has the advantage on the second race, and that is Jack Veazey crossing the line in first place, followed by Harry Gaylor, and then Andrea Magli is your top 3. Then we got Paul Brown coming up behind, little flash and little wiggle from them. Nah, just a little flash as he crosses the line. Happy with that position, looks like. And then we've got Alex Cubulus behind them, Robert Barber as well, across the line in 6th place and leading the AMS. Then we've got a little bit of a gap to Lee Martin just behind. He had a bit of a rough start to the race, but seemed to be making up the pace as it went back on, setting some good lap times out there. Then we've got Casper Roost a bit further back behind, got ahead of John Johnson with his pretty epic fight through the through the majority of this race, really. And then yeah, John Johnston a little bit behind him. So Casper Ruud's just coming across the line now. Then a little 10-second gap to John Johnston behind. Joseph Lopez has also already crossed the line. And yeah, what a phenomenal start to the evening. Then we're going to go into a quick 5-minute break, and then we'll do our second race after that. Full reverse grid, so they'll be starting in reverse order. I'll just quickly run through the order now that they'll be starting in. So yeah, good job everyone on that one. And yeah, I'll pop it up on the board in a second. There you go. So the results here, and then obviously I'll read out essentially the reverse order for it, and that'll be the order they're starting in for the next race. So starting the next race in P1, we have Joseph Lopez, followed by John Johnston, then Casper Roost, Lee Martin, Robert Barber, Alex Cubulus, Paul Brown, Andrea Magli, Harry Gaylor, and then Jack Veazey will be starting in last place. So yeah, I mean, good
Interesting.
first race. What's your thoughts so far?
Good, yeah, it was a great first race. Very, very, very fascinating there to see how it all went down there. Like I said, Jimmy, though, a moment ago before we did get to the end of it, the second race definitely intensifies with these drivers. So it'd be real interesting to see what happens. Jack Veazey, we saw what he did previously when he purposely started himself from the back and got himself to the front. So we know he's capable of doing it. We know how strong some of these other guys are, though. Joseph Lopez, not to be shied at. P2 last week at Monza when we did the 45-minute race. But he's not going to be too hard to, not too easy to get past either. It's quite split, though. The one thing, though, Jimmy, I would like to point out, Casper is obviously, we know he hasn't had a great race this evening. He still has, though, finished P2 in the AMS. That is the advantage to not having so many drivers in it this season, like we've got tonight, with only the 10 guys participating and only 4 of them being the AMS. So the points really can go all over the place. Like I said before, Jimmy, Casper is sitting third in the championship at the minute, 252 points. He's only 4 points off Joseph Lopez with 256, with only 4 points off of Rob Barber with 260. So it's all to play for. And I'm sure Casper Roos, yes, 8th isn't the best, but P2 in that first race, yeah, I'll take that one all day long. But that second race, let's see what you can do. Hopefully, you can get it together a little bit and have a more intensified second race. And we know what these guys are capable of. But no, I really did enjoy that first one. Really did.
Yeah, and I just want to point out something, and a little screenshot that our Jack Veazey has put in the Tanzo Discord for the drivers to see, and his consistency across those laps. I mean, I'll just read some of them out for you there, the ones that he screenshotted. We got a 136.0, a 136.0, 136.0, 136.0, 136.1, 136.1, 135.9. I mean, literally thousandths between some of the laps, thousandths of a second, and then like
That
a
is
tenth here and
ridiculously
there.
consistent. I've just seen that myself, Jimmy. That is absolutely crazy. That is that he's done that. What's
Yeah,
that? Lap 7 to lap 13. He's not get to beat.
yeah, not a single falter in there. Just yeah, I do like when you get those like sort of races where you're just able to just lock in and just set those like really satisfying lap times. But yeah,
Well,
that's some
like you
nice
said,
work from him
Jimmy,
there.
like you said with your comment, absolutely love that satisfying consistency. That is beautiful to look at. That is a great image. But no, we're a few minutes out now, a couple of minutes away from starting race two. What do you think is going to happen, Jimmy? How do you expect it to go?
Well, we've seen from the first race that it sort of getting overtakes done is difficult because if you know how to defend, you know the right lines to take. You can keep position fairly easily. It all comes really down to who can be the most consistent and sort of stay on track. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of the positions seem to be lost from just over pushing that car, going a bit wide, getting onto that grass, and slowing yourself down. So I think it's going to really sort of it's going to be a challenge for the drivers. I think this is going to be the hardest one with the reverse grid order. But I think we know that some of the drivers probably work their way up through a lot of the field. But I mean, we saw John Johnson there doing some phenomenal defending very early on in that race. So
We
yeah, I'd be
saw that
interested to
last
see
week.
how he handles like people like Jack sort of working his way through the field.
No, well, obviously we know what Jack's capable of, Jimmy. I think I touched on it a moment ago. We know he can go from back to front. We've seen it a few times now. I think he's done it about 3 out of the 5 weeks so far. Well, no, probably actually more than that. I think he's pretty much won most of the races that he's been in. I think he's been with us since the start every race. Then I think he's pretty much done it since the start. I think there was one race we finished P2. But anyway, we know what he's capable of. Like you said, Jimmy, it'd be interesting to see how these guys go through and get past some of these guys in front of them. Brilliant defensive driver from John Johnson. We saw it last week, and we actually touched on it last week as well. He had a fantastic battle. I can't quite remember who it was with. But he was doing some brilliant defensive driving, and we saw it again today with Casper and Lee Martin when Lee Martin was trying to work his way through before he eventually did. But no, it's going to be a fascinating one indeed. See how this second race pans out, Jimmy. We are at the end of that 5 minute warm up, so these guys should start to line up for that second race in a moment. And remember, reverse grid.
Yeah, I mean, I do really like the reverse grid order. It does change things up, and it's fun when you're like taking part in it as well,
Yeah,
and then yeah, just to watch it and just to sort of I do find it fascinating seeing how different drivers handle working their way up through the field and sort of
I tell
battling
you,
different people than they normally would do. And
I tell you, Jimmy. Just before we get started, something I'd like to see, like in some of the professional sports, like with qualifying. Let's just take F1, like we do most weeks, as an example. The qualifying order, qualifying. Then you just reverse it every week. I think that would make some great driving, some great, interesting racing to see.
yeah, and just quickly, we got Ye Old Geek back in the YouTube chat. Good mate of mine, John. Yeah, it is a very tough track to pass on. We've seen that a lot, and when people are defending as well as some people are here, it is very difficult. But next second race about to start now. One, two, three, four, five. Five red lights, and they are out almost immediately. Great reactions from a lot of the drivers there. Jack Veazey, very slow start from him, but he is a very quick driver and he's able to work his way back up through the field pretty quickly, especially on previous races that we've seen. So he shouldn't be too worried about that start, but it's a bit surprising for him to be dropping nearly 3 seconds off the pace there this early on. Joseph
Sorry,
Lopez
Jimmy,
getting a
but
great
look at
start
that.
out on front as well, with Lee Martin getting second place and holding position this early on. Sorry.
I was just going to say, sorry, Jimmy, as you were saying there, Jack Veazey, into that second and first corner, Lee Martin, Casper Bruce, and John Johnson, pretty much three wide the entirety of that way round. And I don't think they touched once. That was absolutely brilliant to see. I don't know if you quite caught it there. Little bit of touching now between John Johnson and Casper Bruce again. They still haven't finished trading paint off. But what a start of that race, and what a not a great start from Jack Veazey. Something we are not used to seeing. Like you said, Jimmy's right off the pace at the minute, nearly 1.5 seconds behind Alex Kubelis in P10 and P9. No, it it's an interesting one indeed. But no, as we get around lap one here, Joseph Lopez leading the way at the moment. P1 at the moment, P1 in the AMs, followed by Lee Martin in P2, P1 for the pros at the moment. John Johnson in P3, P2 for the AMs, followed by Paul Brown, P4, P2 for the pros. Andrea Magli, P3, P5 out on track for the pros, followed by Harry Gaylor. Rob Barber down in P7, P3 for the AMs, with Casper Roos just behind him at the moment, a couple of tenths in P8. Alex Kubis in P9 and Jack VZ in P10. Really, really, really caught that time up now. He's on the back of Alex Kubis is bumping out. I think we might see an overtake from him any second. That time is really, really close there. But no, John Johnson and Andrea Magli just at the top of the leaderboard, swapping around. That is absolutely crazy. We got three wide here. I think Harry Gaylor, John Johnson, Andrea Magli there all going real close, pushing one of them slightly wide. I think that was Andreas slightly wide, so he's in P4 at the moment. Harry Gaylor's got himself into P3 for now. Paul Brown and John Johnson swapping around as well, P5 and P6. Oh, it's all going on this race. It is very, very interesting so far.
Yeah, I can't believe we have 4 wide down the main straight there. I mean, that's a crazy like start to the race, and yeah, I mean you can see some of the late braking from both John Johnson going on there and some of the people around him. So yeah, I mean, what a phenomenal down to turn one. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. Paul Brown though really struggling to work his way past a few of these drivers. Andrea Magli as well being yeah, a bit of tough competition for him. We've seen him being very quick early on, and he was again braking so late into some of these corners just to keep track position. I mean, it's so important around here. Jack Veazey struggling to work his way up through the field a little bit. He's got John Johnson ahead of him now. I mean, potentially we could crown him our little Ministry of Defence going on here, but
Absolutely great name for him there. Great name for him there, Ministry of Defence.
yeah, he's had a good race so far. It looks like Alex Kubelis though behind Jack Veazey, and Alex Kubelis is a fan of giving the old little bump draft when he can, so he might be able to help them sort of work together to both get past him and then start working his way up through the field. But I mean, for Jack starting nearly 3 seconds behind and to be at the same position as some of the other pros going on right now, as both of them dive past John and then just leaves John and Casper to fight once again for the remainder of this 25-minute race. So
Sorry, Jimmy, just to interrupt. Harry Gaylor just at the fastest lap of the race so far. No, we're only 3 laps in a 1:37, dead pretty much. But he is lapped nearly a second quicker than Joseph Lopez and Lee Martin in front of him. They obviously now swap positions. As you can see, Lee Martin leading the way now with Joseph Lopez down into P2. P1 still for the AM, so he'll be very, very, very happy with that. 4 pros in between him and Rob Barber, who are leading the leaderboards in the overall standings at the moment, Jimmy. So Joseph Lopez will be very happy with that, seeing as he's sitting in P2 in the championship currently.
yeah, and seeing here Harry Gaylor though getting into the pole position with his fight with Lee Martin. Lee Martin giving him his money's worth there. Joseph Lopez probably really enjoying being able to actually get back into racing again as he is fighting for pole, well, not pole position, but podium position at the moment. With Andrea Magli behind him, but regardless, if Andrea gets past him, Joseph will still be leading the way in the AMs. He'll still be P1. If he keeps where he is. Robert Barber, though, not too far behind. All the drivers still, look how close they are together. I mean, they got a bit of a train going at the moment. And with Harry Gaylor just getting out a bit further in front, probably enjoying being in that nice clean air, not having to worry about anyone in front of him.
No, not
But
at all, not at all. We are seeing it a lot closer at the minute as well, Jimmy. Like 5 minutes into the race, we saw a lot of quite close racing going on in the first race. But we're seeing it a lot closer. So just to talk about times like we did a moment ago, a 1:35.8 by Jack Veazey, fastest lap so far this second race. He is well and truly making his way through the leaderboards. Sorry, through the pack. P7 at the moment. Rob Barber just under half a second in front of him. It'll be very interesting to see what happens there. John Johnson and Casper Roos at the back of the pack again, fighting it out. What is going on with those two tonight? Because it doesn't seem like either of them had a really great race this evening. And these are two drivers which usually are a lot more consistent with keeping up with everybody else, and they're not doing it this evening, Jim.
well, you say they haven't had a good race this evening. I would argue
Uh,
they've had a great
uh,
race this evening. All they've
I
done is
didn't,
race.
no, no, I didn't say they haven't had a good race. I just meant consistency wise, they haven't kept up with everybody else. They just fell off of it. They did it quite early in the first race, and they're doing it again in the second race. it's just not worked out for them. But racing wise, no, phenomenal. They've been battling each other all evening long so far, Jimmy.
Yeah, I feel like they're getting their money's worth back there together. I mean, having a good old scrap together. But yeah, I mean, you can see it is a tough track to overtake on, and it is kind of keeping everyone bunched up together. We said, like, didn't we before that the second race is always a bit more complicated for the
Intensified.
drivers and yeah, intensified. And it I mean, because you're basically forced to be like the people that you fight with. You kind of anyone that you beat in the previous race now has the advantage over you again in this race. So
Kind of got to work at it again to get past them if you had to work at it in the first race. So you know what you've got to do really to get it done.
yeah, and Harry Gaylor there now point 0.6 ahead of Lee Martin with Jack Veazey just getting past Robert Barber there. Only one more AM in front of them, but yeah, Joseph Lopez doing phenomenally well to keep up in that P3 position.
No, it's really interesting to see what's going to happen up there, especially if people like Jack start to make their way back up. Paul Brown, we know what he's capable of. Andrea get back up there because at the moment Harry Gale is still leading the way. Jimmy just under 7.5 minutes gone with Lee Martin in P2, Joseph Lopez in P3 on track, P1 currently for the AMs, followed by Andrea Magli, Paul Brown, Jack Veazey, Rob Barber for P2 for the AMs at the moment, with Alex Kubelis, John Johnson, and Casper Roost. Oh, now Casper Russo and John Johnson swapping around. Well, side by side at the moment. We'll see how that one finishes out. But that is your 10 for the day at the moment. We've got we got just under, we'll just say just under 20 minutes, Jimmy, to before we get to the end of this second race here this evening. In about 15 minutes time, mate, you know what I'm going to ask you? I am going to want to hear your driver of the day. This evening, my mate, you are going to get the pros. So about 4 or 5 minutes left to go for the end of the race. We'll check back in and we'll see what you think, if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you can see John Johnson there really squeezing Casper Roos there, giving him as minimal room as possible, making him get those slower exits on the corners just so he can keep position and keep fighting. Paul Brown, though, getting very sketchy off the grass there, but well held to keep it out of the wall and to keep fighting. Now he's got just behind Jack Veazey here, which probably not a bad person to be behind at the moment because Jack Veazey is going to be wanting to work his way up through the grid and get that P1 again at the end of this race. So
Yeah, knowing how strong
it's going to
Jack
be a
is,
nice
I
person to
think.
follow.
Yeah, sorry, no, I was just going to agree on that one, Jim, because knowing how strong Jack is out there, we see it each and every week. You can't
Oh,
deny that.
huge lunge
Yeah,
there from
that was.
John Johnson, but an
Yeah,
absolute
that
show
caught
for the
me
close to.
caught me a little bit there that he went for that one, but that's phenomenal driving from the pair of these two back at the back of the back in P9 and P10. But no, sorry, just back what I was saying a second ago. If you're following Jack Veazey and you know how strong he is, it's a great car to be behind because if you can stick with him, you're going to get yourself up the leaderboard as well.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing I would like to say, and just as a separate point, I know a lot of people think that like, oh, getting P1 or getting a podium is the most important thing. I mean, for me personally, I've always said my favorite race I've ever done was the battle for P19 out of a 20-person race, Super Formula Lights at Barcelona for me. And just when you get those races where it doesn't matter what position you're going for, but you just have the best battle with someone, we're doing a full half an hour, 20 minutes battle with someone. Oh, it's just yeah,
It,
for me, that's what makes racing, regardless of podiums and stuff. I mean, the podium's obviously great, but yeah, we're just going to go on board now anyway to do a little lap run through with Harry Gaylor so everyone at home can see what the drivers are dealing with this evening. So turn one, massive blind apex going into the corner. Take a little bit of a wide entry onto there, track out as wide as you can onto that runoff, avoid the gravel on the inside, and then we got this very crazy little hairpin here, lots of bit of camber on the inside. You don't want to track out too wide because you don't want to get onto that grass again, but you want to just use that bit of curbing to keep the speed. Nice little high speed here. There's a lot of runoff here, so you can keep that speed with keeping in track limits. We got a bit of an awkward uphill left-hander coming up for the drivers. The braking point, you see, you get so far away from that apex that you're almost hitting it right at the end, and then again using all the curbing as your runoff to keep as much speed as you can through. This next little section is quite a high speed couple of right-handed corners, quite fun to go through. Little dab on the brakes just to get the car rotated, and again they're going to use all that curbing on the runoff. Not a lot here, so it's a bit sketchy for those drivers, like how thin the curbing is that they've got to get onto just to keep that speed up. Then yeah, clip over the apex, run out wide, use any runoff that you can. It's all about keeping that minimum speed up as high as you can. Then we've got this massive blind corner here. You can't see what you're doing on entry, you can't see what you're doing on exit. Keep it out of the grass. into a heavy braking zone here, one of the most complicated corners, but it doesn't look it. And then use that again, curving on the outside. Then we've got one more corner, and that is the end of the track. Dab on the brakes, just get it slowed, get it rotated, back on the throttle, track out wide, again, avoiding that grass. It's all about getting on the throttle as soon as you humanly can, and just using every single millimeter of the track. And you saw even how thin those curbings were on some of those corners, and the drivers would track out onto them. As Jack Veazey gets ahead of Lee Martin there and gets up onto pole, Lee Martin's not going to like that. He's going to go. He's going to go on the attack, looking to get on the inside. Goes back to the outside. Jack Veazey keeps it well held and defends very nicely, very calm and collected through there. And then, yeah, you can see Lee Martin just keeping his nose out there just to see if he can potentially force Jack Veazey to make a little bit of mistake, looking in his mirrors. And yeah, Harry Gaylor maintaining track position. Andrea Magli really on the back of him now, going to be wanting to make the move. He was about 6 to 7 tenths behind. Now he's up to 2 tenths. He's in that slipstream, and he's going to be wanting to get the move done. As soon as they start battling, all it's going to do, though, is allow Jack Veazey and Lee Martin and the rest of the group to catch up right behind them. Joseph Lopez doing very well to maintain P1 in the AMs right now. Robert Barber, he's at P2 at the moment, but I think he's going to be happy with that P2. As at the end of the day, he was P1 in the previous race, and yeah, it'd be good points for him overall. Alex Kubler struggling a little bit to make his way up through the field like the rest of them. Stuck behind Robert Barber there. I mean, we've seen that Rob Barber is a great driver overall, and it's a tough track to pass on if you can't pass it. I mean, as I say that, gets down the inside, gets the speed up, but I think Robert Barber carried a little bit more speed through there. Does he go for the move back through the next turn? No, he stays just behind, possibly a little lift or whatnot, just to keep behind him, and then allows Alex Kublis to carry on fighting. Although he's now lost 3 and a bit seconds to Paul Brown, so he's going to have his work cut out for him to catch back up. Paul Brown as well coming up to the fight with Joseph Lopez, and he's going to want to work his way past him to start fighting the other pros, get onto that podium position.
Oh, Jimmy, I am so glad you kept talking there, because that gave me recovery time from that fantastic onboard, because I absolutely love it. You know, I do each and every week, and I think the viewers at home must enjoy it as much as I do. Guys, let us know how much you enjoy those onboards, because do you like them as much as I do? Basically, I don't think you. I don't think you do, but hope you guys do, because it is fantastic viewing. Jimmy, yeah, you just gave us some real great insights to what these guys see out there. It is a really tricky drive. This track seems to be for them. Like we said at the start, there's a lot of blind corners out there, a lot of blind apexes. You're looking at track, you're looking at sky for part of it. It really is such a typically British track. It is so hard. It's so unforgiving. It really is one of those, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, I like doing the onboards because it shows everyone at home kind of what the drivers are going through, and it shows as well. I mean, especially on this track, you can see them using every millimeter possible, and then when you're doing that, it's hard to kind of um, use like those other lines to try and kind of go defensive and sort of like get those moves done, because when you do that, you take away so much of your speed. As Jack Veazey, though, down the inside of Andrea, gives him just enough room on exit. Can he keep that position held? Going to get a little bit of that side draft potentially if he can get a little bit closer to him, but no, Andrea just sticking just a bit further ahead. Jack Veazey has the dip behind, and is going to have to battle him again the next lap. Running out of time, they're 15 minutes into the 25-minute race. So, yeah.
We know, Jimmy, we know how strong Andrea is. This isn't going to be an easy overtake for Jack. Uh, he makes his way back up through the pack almost effortlessly. We've watched him go from where did he start his race? I think it was. Well, yeah, he was at the back of the pack. Sorry, I do apologise. He won last race. He started at the back and he's worked his way up to P3 now, and he's only a few tenths off. I know you said there's 10 minutes to go, but he's done that in 15 minutes, Jim. That is phenomenal driving from him again. We're seeing tonight. Will he be able to get the move done? Andrea and Harry, though, out in front of him. There's not a lot between the three of them, but with less than 10 minutes to go, can he get it done?
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. And yeah, I mean, it's a tough position for Andrea now, because obviously he's going to defend against Jack, but also he wants that P1 at the end of the day, doesn't he? So he's going to have to look to try and not lose too much time fighting with Jack, but at the same time
just
try and catch
making a
up and
move on him.
fight Harry at the same time.
No, absolutely. We just saw Jack showing his nose a little bit there on Andrea, but no, I completely agree with you. Andrea sitting at the moment P4 in the championships. fair few points off, though. Well, it's not fair few. Sorry, I do apologise. He's just under 20 points. He's about 17, 18 points off Paul Brown. Out ahead of him in P3, Lee Martin in P2 with 249, and Jack Veazey, who's right up behind him at the back of the moment, who's leading the championship with 278. So he's got a nice little bit of a lead at the moment. But no, Andrea is such a strong driver. We see a great race from him week after week. Can he keep Jack Veazey behind him, though, and not impede his own race with Harry Gaylor? And look how close the three of them are there, Jim.
Yeah, and we saw from lap times as well that Jack Veazey, he's just overdone it and gone way too wide. But no, he
Way
keeps
too.
P3 there somehow. Lee Martin, though, encroaching on the back of him, now in his slipstream, and is going to be looking to fight him if he makes another mistake, or if Lee Martin can find that just tiny little bit more pace and get battling with him there. But
They're going
we
to
saw
absolutely
Jack
slam
Veazey.
me. Sorry. They're going to absolutely slam me in those comments because each and every week, Jimmy, you know what it's like. They always say one of us curses them with the curse of the commentator. And I think I just cursed Andrea there, talking about his fantastic driving.
You know, I think it might have been though. I think he might have just braked a little bit on the grass as he came down there and just
Yeah, it looks
unsettled
that
the car
way.
going into that corner. But no, we saw Jack Veazey though. He was lapping, was it 135.8s, 135.9s? And we saw at the end of last race he was doing a consistent 136 deads. And
He's on the
now he's
135 eights
lapping in
again now.
the mid 136s at this point, which
Well, Jack
basically means that
Beatty just set, sorry, 135.8 at the moment, Jim. So he's lapping really fast, almost
that's his
second.
fastest time. That's not what his that's not what
Oh,
his best time is. Oh, that's
sorry,
not his current
I
time.
thought that's just what he just set. I do apologise. But no, he's lapping really, really fast, Jim. Is he going to catch up to Harry Gaylor? He's only 2 tenths off of him, and he's closing that as we speak. Like, what is going to be the ending of this race? What is going to be that top three?
Yeah, and that's what I was just saying. He's lapping half a second quicker. We know he can go half a second quicker at least. So it's going to be tough for Harry to be able to defend for the next 7 minutes as they go around. Roughly about 3 or 4 laps left to go. I mean, the grand scheme of things, it's not too long, but at the same time, it's a hard time to defend from someone that's that close and already making the move down here. That's a very unorthodox place to be making the move, and this must be the part of the track where he's got a lot more pace, but Harry Gaylor carrying so much more speed through that part of the track. But this next bit, if he can stay ahead, no, he does get back ahead. And yeah, I mean, phenomenal little drive from then there. That was a great little corner from him to carry that much more speed than Jack through there.
Well, I said it in the first race, in the first race, Jim. In the first race this season, Laguna Seca, Harry Gaylor was a very strong driver. Finished P2, so he did finish behind Jack Veazey, but he was very, very strong out there and very, very close to him on times. I think we're going to see an interesting last 5, 6 minutes with these two guys up ahead, which could possibly allow Andrea into the mix as well, who's sitting not too far off these two at all either. There's only a few tenths in it there as well. With Lee Martin not too far off of them guys either. If anything does go down between these three, you could see something happen there. Jack Veazey making the move on the inside. Is he going to make it stick? Yeah, he's made it stick. Got himself out there into P1 ahead of Harry Gaylor now. With Andrea slipping just in behind into P3, looking to make a move. Will he make a move on him there? No, not going to get it done just before the corner. There you go. Jack Veazey now leading the race, Jim. Gone from P10 to P1 again.
Oh, I got a bit worried there. I thought, I thought Andre was gonna just take Harry out there, and
It looked like it from the way we was looking at it on the camera there, but I'm not too convinced there he was going to, but it was a sketchy moment.
yeah, I think he went to go move to the inside, but was just a little bit closer than he thought he'd be. But no, they both stayed out on track, which is which is the important thing. But no, we're up to 5 minutes left to go now. I think it's about time that we start calling our drivers of the drivers of the day.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Jimmy. Do you want to take us away with the pros first?
Yeah, I got to give it to I think it's got to give it to Harry Gaylor this race. He's done well to defend so far this whole evening. To be fair, he's been up on those pole positions and he's yeah, he's just drove phenomenally. He's defended well, kept position, he's kept pace, and we've seen from the fastest laps as well that he's not the quickest on track, but then to hold out as well as he's done, I don't know. I think I've got to give it to him. And sorry, just quickly, Marshmallow in chat. I know it's tough because I mean Jack is I mean, I'll have to use the word that I think a lot of the pundits do for describing Max Verstappen in the last few years of racing, and it's Jack is inevitable. And
Yeah.
we've given him drive of the day a few times already this season. So I think we've got to give it to some other people just to share the love around. But no, I mean Harry's had a fantastic race, and I mean Jack has as well, Andrea as well, doing so well to keep it. It was hard to choose between the three of them, but I think I've got to give it to Harry for his yeah,
No,
for his
it's
just calm, collected defensive skills. So
no, it's a great choice, Jim, and I have to agree with you. It's one of them. Jack is inevitable, and no, it's nice to mix it up a little bit. So no, I completely agree with you on Harry Gaylor there. For myself, though, in the AMs, I'm going to give it to Joseph Lopez. I think his first race didn't quite necessarily go to plan for him. He still showed how strong he was, though. He made up quite a lot of time there afterwards. I don't know if we quite covered it really, but I think when he came back out of the pits, he was about a minute and 16 down. By the end of that, he was well and truly fighting back with the rest of them. Um, and currently now leading the way in the AMs with less than a few minutes to go here. No, mine's going to to Joseph Lopez, but I do want to give an honourable mention to John Johnson though, Jimmy. His defensive driving has been absolutely phenomenal.
yeah, if
So
I had to give it to an AM, I think I'd have gone with John there because he's put on one hell of a show for us, and yeah, he's shown some incredible skill at the back there. But no, I mean Joseph Lopez as well has done great to be maintaining position, and yeah, you can see what happens when he doesn't get involved in an accident. He can yeah, he can keep pace quite well. And yeah, just on the screen there, Marshmallow 2-on-2's driver of the day as well, Jack VZ. And yeah,
there we
if
go.
anyone else in chat as well would like to give a shout out to anyone they support, or even if there's just someone you think that's drove particularly well this evening, then yeah, give us a shout out and we'll give
Well,
them a shout out.
if Paul Brown's daughter's still with us, I think I can hazard a guess who she would say would be her driver of the day, unless she's gonna absolutely do her dad dirty and pick somebody else. Quite interested to hear from you, actually, daughter of Paul Brown. Let us know. Has your dad been your driver of the day? Has he done all right today, or are you going to give it to somebody else? Let us know if you're still with us.
Yeah, I mean he's not gotten to the podium just yet, but he's shown great skill as well that Paul Brown has. And yeah, it's nice to see him being able to yeah, just have a good solid evening, I'd say.
There you go. No, absolutely, got to agree with you, Jimmy. But no, it's been another great race tonight here in the and it's not over quite yet, but it's been another great one here tonight in the Tanzo Racing Group, sponsored by Valhalla and us here at Trackside Broadcasting. And I'm still really interested to see what's going to happen with these top three because with how close it is and less than a minute to go, could there be a big change about to happen potentially?
Yeah, we're on the last lap, just coming up to the last lap now. We're just starting as they cross the line here. So Harry Gaylor though, really on the back of Jack. I mean, Jack's gonna have to keep it so calm, defend so perfectly going through here because you saw the pace that Harry can get out some of these corners. It's very much a slow in, fast out driver, and yeah, it works well with attacking and defending, I'd say. So yeah, Jack's got his work cut out for him. Andrea though, he's not far off the back. If anything happens to one of them overdrives even the slightest, he'll pounce right on through, and then the top three could change in a moment's notice. I gotta say, Lee Martin as well doing well. I mean, he struggled in that first race to get past a few drivers, but yeah, showing his pace on this second race here. But no, Jack leading the way at the moment in P1. Harry just behind him for 2 tenths, and Andrea just behind him by 4 tenths. There's not a lot of gap between those guys, so.
Not a lot at all, Jimmy. Like you said, if one of them tracks out wide or something happens, it could open up the door for any one of these three to take the lead here towards the end of this race. But we know how strong Jack, Harry, and Andrea are. So can I see anything like that happening? No, I can't. And I think this is going to be your finishing order, but anything can happen in the last couple of
Oh, a
corners.
little wide from Harry. You can see how much he is pushing to try and catch up. But no, I think it's Jack's in the bag. They've got one more corner to go, but it is quite flat out. And can Harry get that slipstream and potentially make it past? No, I think Jack flawless there, keeping up pace. And you know what? Great drive from him there as he crosses the line in P1 with Harry in P2 and Andrea in P3.
There you go. Phenomenal drive from those three at the front of the pack there, Jim. We'll
Yeah.
jump on board with Joseph Lopez in a minute as Lee Martin comes over in P4. Paul Brown will finish P5. Joseph Lopez P1, P6 out on track, leading the way for the AMS. There you go. Congratulations. Great race from him in his second race this evening. Not too great in the first one, but rounded it off excellently this evening for himself. Alex Kubler's crossing the line not too far after him down in P7, with Rob Barber taking P2 in the AMS, with Casper Roos and John Johnson just finishing up their laps right now. And yet it was no surprise to see that Paul Brown's daughter has said, I'm going to have to give it to my dad. He would be a bit mad if I said somebody else, but Jack has also done well winning both races. Got to completely agree with you. And at the end of the day, your dad doesn't want to put food on the table, so you better not annoy him too much. But there you go, Jimmy. All 10 drivers across the line. Casper Roos in P9 with John Johnson in P10, rounding it off for us this evening. Good 2 races there.
Yeah, I mean, great races there. I mean, a few drivers putting on a really good show for us, and like we talked about, it's a hard track to get overtakes done on. It's a hard track to battle on. It's unforgiving, and the fact that everyone basically, I mean, there was that little incident between Joseph, but I mean, yeah, the fact that everyone basically stayed on track. There was very little incidents going on. There's a bit of paint trading, but I mean that's part of the fun of it all. I'd say, yeah, phenomenal drive from everyone, and they put on a really good show for us.
No,
But I
brilliant.
think
And there we go. So, no, just going to round it off for everybody, just confirm everything there for the day, Jimmy. So, P1 winning the race, coming from the back to the front again. Jack VZ is your winner of the day in P1 in the pros, followed by Harry Gaylor in P2 and Andrea Magli for P3. That is your podium spots to the pros. Lee Martin coming over the line in P4 with Paul Brown in P5. Joseph Lopez, P6 on track, P1 for the AMS, followed by Alex Cubulus, Rob Barber, P8, P2 for the AMS, with Casper Roos, P3, your final podium spot, with John Johnson just missing out in P4 overall, but P10 on track tonight. 2 great races this evening, Jimmy, and we're going to speak to a few of those drivers in just a moment. But any quick takes from that one before we do?
no, I think it's nice to see kind of. I mean, there's a lot of tracks which show people's attacking skills um, when racing, but on a track like this, it was really nice to see everyone's sort of defensive skills kind of getting put to the test. So different skills being shown always makes it more fascinating to watch, and it shows a different side to the drivers. No, I absolutely loved it. But yeah, we'll start with the interviews now, and I believe we're going to bring in our P1 overall first. Let's give a little chat to Jack Veazey here.
Jack, good evening. P1 again, a bit of a theme speaking to you in this position each and every week. How are you doing now after this one this evening, mate?
Yeah, good guys. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Thank you, mate. Very well. Thank you. 2 good races, 2 good performances from you there. We've seen you do it in the past. We saw you do it again tonight. P10 all the way up to P1. How was it for you?
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed driving around Brands Hatch. Yeah, it's one of the few tracks on our racing you can really cut corners without getting any shortcuts. So there is a fine limit, but yeah, it's a fun track to drive.
No,
Uh,
it was a good one to watch out there, and it was a little bit closer for you this week than what we've seen you probably used to with Harry Gaylor and Andrea Maglai sitting right behind you as well. They
yeah,
gave you a good race right at the end there. It was pretty close between you three the whole way as soon as you got up there with them.
yeah, they did. I made a mistake on one of the last laps, so they caught right back up. Harry did, but yeah, Harry and Andrew are like the main competition. Um, but yeah, it's once you break the slipstream, it's I can pull away, but there's just
Yeah.
a few long straights where people can cling on to you. But once you break it, I can start to gap.
No, there you go, mate. There you go. Look, we know, like, don't like to keep you guys for too long. So before we let you go, anyone you want to say thank you to or give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'll just give a shout out to my mum. I think she's watching, and I'm streaming on Twitch. So shout out to Mr. Colram as well.
There you go. Good evening to you guys. There you go, Jack. Well done again, mate. P1, another great couple of races from you there. You have a good evening. Have a good week off. We're not going to see you next week. Remember, we're going to see you in a couple of weeks. So we'll catch you then.
Cool. All right. See you guys then.
See you later, mate. Have a good evening.
Always
There you
good
go.
to chat to him.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. A bit of a trend, like you said, like I said, Jimmy, always in the P1 spot at the moment.
Nice. But let's bring in Joseph Lopez then, our P1 in the AMs.
Yeah, absolutely. Joseph Lopez.
Yes,
Good
sir.
evening, first of all. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very, very well, thank you. Very, very well. Some great racing this evening. Not a great race how you would have wanted it to have gone the first one. We had a brilliant race the second time, with the second race out there in 25 minutes, finishing P1 in the AMS. How did you find it this evening then?
It was a lot of fun. Like you said, I kind of messed up that first race, and then when I finally got back out of the pits, I was in the exact same spot, just a lap down. So it was kind of torture.
Yeah, well, you did some decent work to bring that time right down towards the end. But no, you did really well as well in the second race. Like I said, mate, you finished P1 in the AM, so you had a great race, made up for it well and truly in that one, right there.
Yeah, it was a good time.
No, a real good time. But look, mate, we don't like to keep you guys for too long after the racing 'cause it can be a little bit straining on you guys. But before we do let you go, anyone you want to say thank you to or give a shout out to?
I'll just shout out to all the other drivers. They all did really good tonight. It's always a lot of fun racing with them, and then of course my wife and my dog. So
Well, good evening to you guys watching at home, and thank you again for joining us this evening, Joseph. Always good to speak to you, mate.
yeah, you too.
Take care, mate. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right.
See you later, mate. Good to speak to. Good to speak to. Let's get someone I enjoy speaking to very much in here with us. Shall we get Casper Roos in here, Jimmy?
Yeah, let's give him a little chat too. I mean, yeah, he had a lot of
I've got
battling going on this race,
yeah,
so we could ask him how that went
I've got
on.
a couple of questions for Casper. Casper, good evening. First of all, how are you doing, sir?
Good evening. Tense, I would probably say.
Right, Casper, let's start from the beginning. So qualifying, yeah, let's be honest, it wasn't going the best for you. You didn't manage to get a lap time in there. I think you were struggling a little bit. However, though, you pulled it through in the end with the race. You came P2 in the first race in the AMS. You came P3 in the second race. So you pulled it back a little bit, but it just didn't seem to click for you tonight from what we could see watching. Like it does help obviously with having less drivers, it gives you guys more points, but it just didn't seem to click. Am I right in saying?
Uh, Probably a bit, yeah. I didn't. I had a very busy week, so I didn't have as much time as I would have liked to get some practice in. And also, during the race, I got, I wouldn't say held up, but I had a. It was John was very difficult to get past, which then uh, kind of not destroyed sounds wrong, but it made it difficult for me to then
Yeah.
try and get to the pack that was leaving us.
No, I completely understand what you were saying. And look, we did call out John for that exact point, Casper, during the race. John Johnson's driving this week was absolutely phenomenal. His defensive driving, he was making it so difficult for you to get past, and you just really didn't seem like it. That's why I said it didn't seem to click for you this week. We know what you're capable of, but I think John's driving probably was a part of that, and that did keep you back a little bit longer than you'd like to have been, I would imagine.
Yeah, and I don't know if the last overtake I did on him, if that's going to end up being a penalty, because I know it might have been a bit of a deep lunge, but at that point he had just gotten on my last nerve, which I'm not proud of. But and I just went, I just want to get past. Let's see what happens.
Well, we threw a lot of trading paints throughout both races there between you guys. I think I did say you're going to be each other's car colours by the end of it. But no,
Yeah.
there you go, mate. You got the result. You got P3. You got P2. Not a bad evening overall, if I do say so myself. Look, before I let you go though, mate, anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Just a shout out to the other drivers this season. It's been great fun and good racing, and a shout out to my dad who's spent the whole day yesterday just watching the races with me.
No, absolutely great to hear, and a good evening to you guys at home as well, watching along with us, hopefully as well. Look, Casper, it's always a pleasure to speak to you, as I'm sure Jimmy will agree. You always give us some great conversations. But no, we're going to let you go. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, mate. All right.
Yeah,
See you later, mate. Have a good evening.
you too. Bye bye.
See you later. See you later. Right, we've got a couple more that we're going to get through, Jimmy. Before we've got to go off the air for the evening. Run out of time, as I say, on the television. We're going to speak to Andrea first, P3, finishing off that race just there, and P3 in the first race. Andrea, good evening. How are you doing first?
Hi guys. Hi guys. Hello. I'm doing well. That was a crazy race. And you?
Yeah, we're doing very well. Jimmy, are you good? You still good? You
Oh,
still with me?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
making sure you're still alive. Just make sure you're still alive. No, Andrea, great race from you this evening. Great couple of races. P3 in both of those. Very consistent. Great race at the end there between you and Harry Gaylor and Jack Veazey in that second race. Really interesting to watch. How did you find it this evening?
I mean, it's really crazy how they don't let you any margin of error. If you do the smallest error, the smallest mistake, these two guys are gone. They are gone.
Oh yeah,
It's
they're
really,
quick.
really tough to fight with them. Yeah.
No, they are quick. We see it each and every week, and with Harry joining us back this week, I don't think he's been with us since week one. He's a very strong driver as well, and we know what you're capable of. So it made some really interesting driving. I think you'll agree with me, won't you, Jim, for that second race at the end?
yeah, it's fascinating to watch, kind of like because there's literally tenths between these guys for basically the whole second half of that. It just came down to if anyone was to make a potential little wobble.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen, because I did one. I did fumble the third corner, I guess. Like the smallest oversteer I had to correct went wide, and then he was able. That was Jack at the time. He was able to overtake, and at
Yeah.
the end of that same lap, I almost took out Harry. So I felt so bad after that. That was, yeah. I really didn't want that to happen. Yeah.
No, well, these things do happen, mate. These things do happen. But look, we're not going to keep you for too long. Before we let you go, again, just want to say, brilliant drive from you this evening, Andrea. As always, always a
Thank you.
pleasure to speak to you as well. Anyone you want to give a shout
Yeah,
out
always
to
a
or
pleasure
say
for me
thanks
too.
to?
Yeah, maybe friends, family, and once again, I say it every time, but guys, thank you for putting it all together. It's really, really fun to do that on a regular basis. I really enjoy it, and yeah, thank you once again.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to hear that as well from you guys. Look, go get yourself have a chilled evening, mate, and we'll catch up with you in a couple of weeks. All right.
Yeah, thank you, guys. You too. Bye bye.
See you later. Good evening, mate.
See you.
Right, Jimmy, we got one last one. We're going to bring in Harry Gaylor, P2 in both races this evening, finishing just behind Jack Veazey. Harry, good evening. Welcome back. Haven't seen you in a few weeks. How are you doing?
All good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, we're doing very, very well, mate. Very, very well. It was great to see you back on the sheet for this evening's race, and we knew he was going to get a good race from you. You gave us that in both of them. That race at the end between you, Jack Veazey, and Andrea, that was some brilliant watching right at the end there. We didn't know how it was going to finish up. How did you find it this evening being back?
Oh, it's great. I'm just here. I don't really race much, so I'm just here to enjoy it. But I know I'm always going to get a race with Andrea. Maybe not Jack. He's a little bit too fast, but I still get a race, and it's enjoyable regardless.
Hey, no, it was a brilliant race between you three pretty much the whole way around. We know how strong Jack is. Look, he went from P10 and did eventually finish in P1 above yourself and Andrea there. But no, it was brilliant watching Jim. Definitely, I know he agrees with me. Like, we didn't know who was going to finish between you three at the top. We know you're such a strong driver. We saw it at Laguna Seca in week one, I think, when the last time you were with us. And
Yeah.
like you said, Andrea, we know how strong he is as well. But we was really hoping to see a great race, and you give Jack Veazey a run for his money, and you did definitely do that tonight. You didn't make it easy for him at all, you nor Andreas. So no, congratulations, mate, on your P2s overall. It's great to have you back again. Are you going to be joining us again in a couple of weeks?
Depends on work schedule.
Well, hopefully work pretty forgiving in that one, and you do get the time to be back with us. But look, mate, we won't keep you for too long. Anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Just Andrea and Jack for great racing. Appreciate it.
No, there you go, mate. And again, great to have you back with us. Hopefully, see you in a couple of weeks. But get yourself gone, mate, and we'll see you then. Hopefully,
Sweet. Take care. Bye bye.
see you later, mate. Bye now. There you go, Jimmy. Some great racing this evening here, and some great conversations with some of the guys. Always good to speak to them.
Yeah, I mean they are a good group of guys, and like, yeah, I do love when people come in. You can feel the energy coming off a lot of the people here, and just how much they clearly love the racing and love the group of guys that we're with. So no, it's yeah, interviews is always very nice because it gives you that little kind of extra insight into the drivers.
Yeah, it really lets you kind of get an idea of these guys, doesn't it? And not just what you see behind the steering wheel. But Jimmy, sadly, my friend, on that note, that is going to have to be the checkered flag from us here this evening at Brands Hatch. and it's going to be the checkers brag from us here at Trackside Broadcasting. Before I hand over to you, I just want to say thank you to everybody at home for joining us. And as always, Jimmy, thank you for being the co-host with me as always, and calling another great race each and every week, and tonight especially as well.
Oh, thank you, guys. And yeah, we've been treated to an absolutely quality race this evening here at Brands Hatch. And next week we have a bit of a break from racing. We got a little week's gap, and then we'll be back the following week on the 24th of May for a race at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. One of my personal favourites, and always makes for great racing. So make sure you tune in for that one. But yeah, so a little week's break, and then we'll be back the week after. But before I sign off, I just want to again thank the Tanzo Racing Group for hosting us this evening, and thank you to all at home for being here and supporting your favourite drivers out there on the grid. Hope everyone has had a great race and a great week, and everybody, we shall catch you for the next one. Good night, everyone.